Yeah.
So let's play a game. What? But I still think it's an interesting conversation.
Wait. Sacks or quarterback stat.
Oh, hell no.
Still got a few more to go.
Slow down, baby.
That's fair.
Finish him, Daddy.
Additionally,
Do you want to guess the last two?
No, it's my turn.
Because of how dangerous he is with his feet.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
And I think there's an interesting conversation here.
No, God.
You know, that's just the nature of the beast in this business.
Daddy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hashtag Sports. My name is Paul, and I forgot to add Ryan. Hey, Ryan. There you are, buddy. So welcome to Victory Monday. Obviously, the Bills' future is looks like it's going to be at Mile High. I can't say looks like. It is definitely going to be at Mile High. The Bills are going to play the number 1 seed Denver Broncos, and there's no way around that on a Saturday. So Bills coming off, they get the Broncos on 6 days rest. The Broncos coming off of 13 days. And it's the playoffs, man. The 1 seed should get that advantage, right? Like, that's the whole idea. But welcome to the show. We're going to talk about the Bills and Jags, preview the Bills and Broncos, and kind of talk about injury news and, you know, things to know throughout this upcoming week. Obviously, I'm joined by Ryan. Ryan, Bills, Jags, 'twas a heart pounder, right? I couldn't sit still during the game. I actually had to get up and I built a computer on the floor of my living room. I was so anxious.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude, I couldn't do it. I was present, but I couldn't be there for everything emotionally. And I had to explain to a friend of mine who's a Chiefs fan. I said, "Are you a Bills fan for the next couple of weeks?" And he goes, "I'll pull for Josh Allen." And I was like, "Okay, let me tell you how to do this. What you need to do to be a Bills fan is you need to wear something that you would never wear in public. Stay home. Like if you've got overalls, there's anything Zubas, just put those on. Raccoon skin hat. Go get some Labatt blue light, and then live every second in fear that you're going to lose this game." And that is being a Bills fan in 2025. Ryan, your retort.
yeah, I mean, look, we've talked for weeks about this football team and about when you've got that dude, you've got a chance, right? And that is point counterpoint the rest of the way, and until he leaves his prime, he is that dude, and it's worth Josh Allen. You cannot say enough good about what Josh Allen did on Sunday. I don't know that everyone fully appreciates really what you saw out of this dude on Sunday. When the Bills were trailing in this football game, Josh Allen was 14 for 16 with 133 passer rating and 3 total touchdowns. Yeah. All 3 of its touchdowns came when they were trailing. Yeah. 14 for 16. A 133 passer rating. Josh Allen accounted for 90% of the Buffalo Bills' total offensive yardage in that football game.
Yep.
The last drive, he was 5 for 5 and accounted for 65 of the 66 yards that the team drove to take the lead.
Well, in the final drive.
The final drive.
Yeah. Okay.
Aside from Osiris Torrance picking him up and carrying him 9 yards.
That's what I was.
Still goes for Josh in the stat sheet, right? He was on a day where he was all season, right? All season he's been shorthanded in terms of skill position players, but in a game where your back's against the wall, you're on the road, you're an underdog against a really good team, arguably the hottest team in the NFL, 8 straight wins, a top 5 defense. Your running game stalls. Your rushing champion can't get going in any way, shape, or form. You need him to cape up. And what does he do? He goes 28 to 35 for 306 total yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He goes 9 for 14 on 3rd and 4th down combined. And he's patient, and he takes care of the football. He makes the right decisions, and he made some of the best throws he's made all season. That throw to Brandon Cooks, Mario and I talked about it in the chat a little bit. We talked about it via text as well. That throw to Brandon Cooks on that last drive that was, if not, it definitely was Allen's best throw of the season. It might have been the best throw that we've seen out of any quarterback this season.
He ate shit on that.
He did.
He
Third
ate
down.
it. Oh,
He knew the blitz was coming.
Yep.
The blitz came free, right in his face, off his back foot, 40 yards in the air, and put it right where it needed to be.
yeah, on the money.
Like,
now, we've seen Josh
on the
underthrow those balls in recent weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was not underthrown. That was,
And he was, I mean, he was hitting hole shots. I mean, the shot to Coleman was a great throw downfield. The shot to Shavers was a great throw downfield. That throw we just talked about to Cooks was a great throw downfield. Like, Allen was absolutely dialed in, and he did it on a bum ankle or bum foot.
Yeah.
Right. He took a shot to the head early in the game. He cracked his hand on a helmet.
That looked bad.
Early in the game.
That looked bad.
Twisted his knee on the second touchdown that he ran in.
Yep.
Like, this dude was, I mean, he was beat up. And like, this was an aggressive, probably overly aggressive Jacksonville defense. You could argue that they had some cheap shots. I was not a fan of that shot on Gabe Davis that wound up tearing his ACL and maybe ending his career. I thought that was a dirty hit, low helmet led with his helmet.
Yeah. So, but James Cook had a similar interaction. I don't know if you remember his swing pass to James. It was just a check down route, and the guy came low on him, like real low, real low, and he got up, and you could see James say something to him about it, like, "Yo, what are we doing, dude? Like, what are we doing? Why are you trying to take my legs out?" Like, James Cook, he's pretty quiet on the field. Like, he doesn't say stuff to people. Yeah. But it was very obvious that that was a tactic, right? And that sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. Josh threw a grenade, right? Threw it into triple coverage.
Yeah, sure,
like,
for sure,
it was a grenade. And obviously we're talking about Gabe Davis.
I mean, that was
ACL tear. He is done for the year, you know. But
and that was the story of the game. I thought, by and large, I thought that in big moments, I felt like Jacksonville was maybe too worried about being aggressive and not worried enough about being, you know, maybe disciplined in the secondary and maybe disciplined on their pass rush, right? Like, we talked about it early in the game when things were starting to get really chippy, right? And like, advantage Buffalo in those situations. And I think going forward against all of these teams that they've got ahead of them, like, you know, advantage Buffalo if these games are going to get chippy and the refs are going to let these guys play, because Buffalo's got that experience, right? Been there, done that. And we've got that dude on the sideline that everyone's afraid of. And you want to come at us sideways, like, feel free to lose your head, man. Like, feel free to lose your head, because when that guy gets rolling in the fourth quarter, which we know he's going to get rolling in the fourth quarter because he's done it his entire playoff career, like, all that's going to happen is that's going to ratchet up the pressure for everybody else. And we saw it with Trevor Lawrence, right? We saw it with that last drive. He just couldn't handle the pressure. He's trying to force it in, makes a bad throw, and that was all she wrote. But I mean, when Allen's your guy and your offense is rolling and you touch the ball in the fourth quarter twice and you score 2 touchdowns and all of a sudden you got a lead, like, the chippiness has to go away and guys got to dial back in. And that's tough to do. That's really tough to do once you're in that mindset of chippy and, you know, extracurricular activities and stuff. It's tough to dial back in.
Well, I want to give credit where credit's due. That might have been the best game Trey White's played all season. I shouldn't say might be. That
Hands
was
down.
the best game that
That's
Trey White
the best.
played.
That's the best game that Trey White has played since he blew out his knee the first time
in a few
Buffalo.
years.
Yep,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah, and
you know, I think it's the best. I think it's the best game we've seen from Matt Milano too. Like, the vets are stepping up, man. Like, you know, it was time. Rousseau, I thought it was a great game from Rousseau. I thought Bosa played a really good game. They did a really good job of kind of containing Trevor Lawrence and not letting him. He hurt him a couple times, right? But when push came to shove in the second half, like, you know, they did a really good job, I thought, against him. And if Trey and Milano in their, you know, I would expect Milano's role to continue to be piecemeal as Bernard starts to work his way back and stuff. We'll see what Trey looks like with Hairston.
Bernard was still a DNP today, so Bernard is
right.
still not participating. Just to catch up on those injuries, today is Monday, but you know, like, when you start talking about injuries, Bernard likely still. I don't know if we're going to see him.
I think you're going to see Ed Oliver before you see Bernard.
I think that's very possible.
Like, there's a very real chance, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's very possible. Curtis Samuel is getting activated off the IR, so they're opening up his practice window. I think that's just out of pure necessity. Yeah. Well, because you either have, you have Mecole Hardman or White Steve. Like,
I still don't know who you're talking about. But
White Steve, Steve Gosnell. You don't know. It's White Steve.
Okay.
But he's been on the practice squad all season. So, like, this is why you have guys on the practice squad to activate when you need them. Wild that it could be his first game in the NFL, and you're like, oh, by the way, we gotta win this to go to the conference championship.
Oh, by the way, go line up across from Patrick Surtain.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
No, NBD
right.
kid.
Yeah, exactly. No. And I think that is something that we probably need to talk about a little bit more is the injuries. We should get to those just in a moment. I do want to just back up quickly. No Ty Johnson. Boy, did things feel different, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they
I don't want to
They
say that I miss Ty Johnson because I shouldn't miss a player who I was angry to see on the field most of the time, right? But that dynamic was gone. I think it did open up some opportunities for James, right? To try and get him out in space. Like, those snaps just kind of got split up a little bit. But no Ty Johnson, what a difference, right? It really did feel different on third down without him out there.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it really turned them very, very. When they really missed him was late in the game, because if you watch, like, Cook wasn't on the field a lot in those final two drives.
No,
like, they went back to Cook off the field. They're trying to piece it together with Ray Davis, and they've got Frank Gore Jr. out there, and
and you even saw Shakir in the backfield. Like,
yeah, I mean, those are moments. Those would have been Ty Johnson snaps.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that changes your dynamic offensively, where maybe it's not all on Josh. Right. Like, Ty Johnson, maybe he gets over and picks up that free blitzer on that Cook's throw. And I think that was one of those things. But the other thing I thought that was worth keeping, worth noting, like, Khalil Shakir, season high in targets. Yesterday, like, Josh went back to what playoff Josh does, and it's like, I'm going to my guys, and like, I'm gonna feed my guys until you stop me, and they weren't able to stop Shakir, and they just kept feeding him.
Yep. And Shakir on the day 12 for 12, by the way. What a day. 12 for 12, 86 yards, only 6.8 yards long of 18. But that's not what Shakir's not a guy that's going to put up 12 catches for 264 yards. Like, that's just not, that's not the role that's asked of him.
But he had three receivers, four receivers that had double-digit average catch. Right, Cook's 19.3. Keon Coleman, even though he only had one, it went for 36. Shavers only had one, it went for 14, and then Dawson Knox averaged 10 yards a catch. So they're getting vertical.
I think that Coleman catch means more than people might want to realize, because that shows that, one, he's not written off, right? Two, it went for yardage. And three, not much was asked of him, right? Like, that's just the God's honest truth is not much was asked of him. But without Gabe Davis, you have to have Keon Coleman. So him getting that catch not only reintegrates him back into feeling like he's involved, because I'm sure he's felt on the outside for a while. And yeah, he only had one target, right? He went 1 for 36. But that catch probably was more meaningful to him than Bills fans might really want to grasp right now. You know,
it was a nice run after the catch too, right? He broke a tackle, got down the sideline, and got out of bounds, took care of the football. Like, that's all you can ask from a guy who you're trying to get potentially integrated back into this offense and get him going again. It's like, it was a nice route. He found the open spot. It was a nice shot that Josh took down the field, caught it, right? Like, first thing done, catch it. Broke a tackle, got downfield, picked up positive yardage, and set him up, and they scored on that drive.
Yeah.
So,
and Frank Gore contributing in the pass game too. 1 reception for 6 yards, but I mean, again, this is a player that you've not used all season long. Steps up, can contribute, and those are things that when the tape goes out, right? So when the tape goes out to Peyton, those players only have one reception, right? They may have only played 4 snaps, 1 reception. That's stuff that now you're like, okay, well, hold on, right? He only took 4 snaps, but he got 1 target on those 4 snaps. I'm just using that as an example. I haven't pulled Frank Gore's snap count, but that's stuff that disrupts tape. That disrupts the scouting process for your next opponent. When you have a Terrell Shavers pull in 2 targets, I know it doesn't seem like much, but one of those targets turned into a 14-yard reception.
Yep.
Like those matter. So I know that the whole everybody eats thing, got old in Buffalo pretty quick because you kind of felt like the offense had no potency there. But from a film perspective, it makes things really hard because the games where you do have Khalil Shakir pick up 12 targets, right? Those are things that you haven't done, right? Like that does shock a defense. And it makes it really hard.
Yeah. Frank Gore got 4 snaps.
I guess good. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad guess.
But like you said, as soon as he came in, right, he came in early in the first quarter. And, I thought, like, I don't think he played in the second half. And, I mean, I'm okay with that, right? Like, I think that's an unfair position to put him in, playoff game, must win, trailing most of the second half. And, like, okay, kid, like, go out and pick up, like, you're right, like go out and pick up Josh Hines-Allen coming off the edge. Or like, go pick him up Castro.
Yeah.
Or,
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Or that defense with the way they were swarming and being so disciplined, like go out and hang on to the football when they're trying to take a whack at it in the second half. So I mean, I was okay largely by, the snap counts, James Cook 38, so he had 60% of the snap counts. Ray Davis picks up 20 with 32% of the snap count. The rest go to Gore. But I thought the defensive line played really well. I mean, they didn't get home a ton, but they really made things messy for Lawrence. And we've talked about that on this show for years now, right? Like you don't have to get home, but you do have to make things messy. You have to make things uncomfortable for these guys because if they sit back and they can just sit back and pick you apart, like these are 32 of the best quarterback, in the world, and like they will pick you apart, especially a guy who's got weapons like Trevor Lawrence. So to see that rotation, that defensive line rotation, I thought worked really well. Deion Walker and Daquan Jones both playing 70% of the snaps, rotating in TJ Sanders where they needed to. And then defensive end, you started to see Greg Rousseau play a little bit of that Hoyt role, right? Where he bumped inside a couple times.
He's athletic enough to do that.
He came off the edge and, from a stance, he came off the edge in a stand-up role. Like, he was pretty versatile. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do going forward against, an offense that, again, like, I don't know. Do I trust Bo Nix any more than I trust Trevor Lawrence? Am I any more afraid of Bo Nix than I am Trevor Lawrence?
I think Bo Nix brings a little bit more to the table as far as athleticism goes, right? Sure. Which I think is where Buffalo's going to struggle with him a bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out a way to
contain him without giving up.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So why don't we transition over a little bit since, we're making that natural transition. First off, we want to thank our sponsor while we're in this transition, Mr. Rogers Homes. Sean has done great for us, and we would love him to do great for you. In Arizona, if you're looking for any real estate investment properties, make sure you hit the description of this video. You can find Sean's relocation guide for Mr. Rogers Homes. All right. So Sean McDermott and Sean Payton all time. Do you know what their head-to-head record is?
I gotta think Payton's got the advantage.
Interesting. He does not. So Sean McDermott is 3-2 against Sean Payton. Now, mind you, only one of those games was a one-score game. So it's been blowout city every time these games happen.
Yeah, the only game I remembered. The only game I remembered is when the Saints came in and ran for like 300 yards.
Yeah,
that put up a boatload of touchdowns against the Bills. That's the only game I remember them.
Yeah, so that was 2017. So that was a hot minute ago, Ryan.
Yeah,
you're dating yourself a little bit. So the all-time record in 2017, the Saints beat the ever-living piss out of the Bills 47-10. Buffalo got back in 2021. They didn't play for several seasons. Bills beat them 31-6. In 2023, Peyton 24-22. The Broncos won that game. It was the first game the Sean Payton coached Broncos. I think that was the Russell Wilson led Broncos, if I'm remembering that game correctly. Then the Bills obviously mollywopped the Broncos 31-7 last season. So these matchups have not been close. So it is going to be a one-sided game, one side or the other. And the Broncos are a little bit more potent than they have been in the past. They led the league in sacks and also sport amongst the best rush defense and pass defense in the NFL. They actually had the best pass defense in the NFL for most of the season. Surtain went out. I think they lost some traction there. Surtain's back. So this is a pretty potent team as far as the defensive side of the football, which I guess I'm not really used to with the Sean Payton led team, that they have a defense that just absolutely swallows you whole. That's still kind of new for me. But, from a points scored perspective, Buffalo should still put up points on this Broncos defense. So where do you see the weaknesses for Buffalo to try and exploit against Denver?
Yeah, I mean, I think Denver's a team that I think Buffalo matches up pretty well with. You definitely can run on them. I think, they are really, really good in pass defense. They only allow, I think it was 91 yards a game on the ground, but I think teams largely abandon the run against them because you have to throw the football, especially because they're so good at getting sacks, right? So you get behind the sticks, you got to throw the football on 2nd and 17. You can't really run the ball. So I think running the football is really well. And then again, I think the counter to any hyper aggressive defense is typically going to be those quick routes and then play action. And Buffalo does both of those things really, really well. I think this Denver defense can be had against tight ends, and Buffalo's got 3 really good ones. I'm not sure that you would consider any of the 3 great necessarily, or even elite, but they're good, right? Like Kincaid can do damage in the middle of the field if you let him. Knox can do damage. He's going to catch the ball and fall down like he always does, but at least, he's going to get open and get first downs and things like that. And then Jackson Hawes is always dangerous to catch a ball or two if need be, and they seem to be in big moments, third down situations, things like that. But I mean, they're going to have to run the football. Like the messaging remains the same throughout the rest of the postseason, I think. What Josh can do, right? The problem is that you don't want Josh to have to go do it. You want Josh to just be able to do it, if that makes sense. You don't you want him to throw the cape on because he can, not because he has to. So you have to figure out a way to run the football on Saturday, especially because Josh is banged up and he's going to get a day less rest, Mile High, right? Like that always makes things a little bit different in terms of playing in that stadium. But I think you're looking at, from an offensive perspective, run the football, try to score early, try to put the pressure on Bo Nix. And I think if you can do that, I think this puts that Denver offense into a really sticky situation because they don't have great running backs. They don't, Bo Nix does not throw the ball as well as Trevor Lawrence can throw the ball. He's better on the move. But if you can figure out a way to contain him, and you've got linebackers that can, right? Like Dorian Williams can run with him. Matt Milano can run with him. There's guys that you can figure out coverage. None of the receivers scare me outside of Cortland Sutton. I think your secondary is playing really, really well. We'll see the status of Jordan Poyer, but I also am not super worried if you get a some time with
Jordan
Hancock there. Yeah,
they went after Jacksonville went after Hancock.
They did, but I mean Hancock's he's not practicing all week like he's starting. Right, like that. Like there is a difference there.
I totally agree with you. Yeah,
and if you've got an injured Jordan Poyer who moves into a mentor role and moves into a, you've got Jordan Poyer, Teron Johnson, Trey White, like Christian Benford, like these guys can coach Hancock to play one game at free safety for this football team, right? Like I'm not necessarily worried about that. You've got the right coaching staff to figure that out. But again, nobody really scares me on this Denver offense outside of Cortland Sutton. And I think he's relatively easy to contain because he's not really, it's not Tyreek Hill, right? Like he's not Jalen Waddle. He's not these guys that are just going to, he's not dynamic. He's going to go vertical. He's going to win jump balls. But you got, Trey White's been really good. Christian Benford's really good against jump balls. Like, I think they're going to be okay defensively. This was the best defensive showing they've had in a very long time, I thought. Well,
I agree. I wouldn't say, because there was a question in the chat. Flash asked a question: was this the best defensive game of the season? I would not say that because there's been more dominant games. I think you can repaint the last quarter of football and say this might have been Buffalo's best defensive showing, but I just
certainly
don't
the best defensive quarter we've seen from them, right? Like, I guess the Eagles game was really, really good, but again, I don't know that the Eagles were that good offensively. The Jags came in really good offensively. And you did everything you could to take it away, and it helps when you've got Allen, right? You saw what they did with the run, like they were gashing Buffalo in the first half, running the football. It just seems like teams, for whatever reason, because 17's on the other sideline, like they feel like they can't keep running the ball late in games.
Yeah.
They feel like they've got to keep up.
Well, and I think that's what Buffalo has to do kind of early against Denver is you have to be able to score while running the football, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just go down and average, 4.5 yards a carry and just kind of work your way down the field, because Denver will just wait you out. They'll say you will not run the football all day. You won't do it. We will give you 4.5 yards a carry. That's fine. We're just going to wait you out because we know you won't be able to help yourself. And Buffalo just doesn't have that ability to take their foot off the gas when it comes to the passing game. They're going to still try and pass the ball, even if they could just simply run down the field. They're still going to try and pass the ball. And I think that's kind of what Denver is going to bank on is, listen, we'll give you a little bit here, but we're going to take everything away from you in the passing game because we know you just won't be able to help yourself. I think Buffalo has proven that.
But I think the argument can be made. I think Jacksonville tried to do that too. Like, I think Jacksonville tried to do that. Jacksonville played a really disciplined football game on defense. They kept everything in front of them. They didn't let anybody get deep. And Josh was he was playoff Josh. Like, he was surgical. He was patient. He took his time. He took what was there. He wasn't forcing balls aside from the Gabe Davis throw. I think wound up getting Davis hurt. If there's opportunities there, Josh took those opportunities against Jacksonville. And I think if you play the waiting game and it's regular season, Josh, I think you have a good chance. But if you play the waiting game against this Buffalo team, I don't think he's going to take many shots downfield that are ill-advised, where guys aren't open, things like that. And I think that's the difference that Josh brings in the playoffs versus the regular season.
Well, Ryan, let's not candy coat the fact that Josh had a historic day. No player in NFL history has rushed for 2 TDs, had an 80% completion percentage, and threw for over 250 yards in a game. It's never happened. And I know it just seems like, you hear these things, you're like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. No, that's a big deal. That is one player single-handedly dragging a team to the finish line. Like that is what that is. And I think that's sort of been one of the things, and one of the bugaboos about Josh in the media is people say we've seen analysts will say Josh Allen hasn't dragged his team through the mud like we've seen the great quarterbacks do. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. I'm looking at, I see Gabe Davis get hurt and I go, oh my gosh, I know, how is this team going to recover? The dude was on the practice squad most of the season. He didn't play nearly at all last year. And he played for Jacksonville and the Bills signed him hurt. Like, this was a player that you didn't expect anything from. And then he hasn't contributed a lot, but he goes down and then you go, oh man, what are you going to do now? Because you're already down Josh Palmer. You've had Curtis Samuel on IR for a while. You look in the cabinet's empty. This is the worst time to try and sign a free agent. Like, this is where preparedness matters. And the Bills have had a huge problem at that wide receiver position. So this is the time where Josh just has to drag the team across the finish line single-handedly. And I hope this answers to a lot of those media heads that just think, yeah, Josh Allen is a great quarterback, but he's not amongst the greats. When it seems like every other week he's doing something nobody in history has ever done at this point in his career.
Yeah, Josh Allen he's one of one, right? Like, he's like, you can compare him to any quarterback you want to compare to historically, but like, he's one of one. We've never seen a quarterback with the skill set like Allen. And I think that's one of the counters too to like your point where, it's like, well, it took a historic performance. It's like, well, yeah, but how many times have we seen him do that, right? Like, it's not like he's done it and he'll never do it again, right? It seems like almost every week he has a big game. Like, every one of these games that pop up where it's like the Bills, come from behind or they're underdogs or they get down early and they come back late. It's like almost every single time that happens, you're looking at the Bills PR Twitter and it's like Josh Allen, first quarterback in history to do insert thing here, right? Like, he's redefining legitimately, right? Like, we talk about a lot of guys talk about like Lamar Jackson redefining the quarterback position. We saw what Lamar, I saw it with Vic, right? Like, Vic was, what Lamar was. Vic didn't have the talent around him, and Vic played in a different league. And, all of the things, right? We've legitimately never seen a talent like Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
Like you can, like our Elway, right? Like Elway was really, really good the way Josh was really good on the move and things like that. But Elway wasn't 6'5", 240, right? Like Elway couldn't lower his shoulder in the open field or jump over a guy.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, when the expectation is like Josh is going to have to do this to win the game, it's like the question isn't can he? It's just like, is he going to flip the switch soon enough to like walk him down? And then what we saw on Sunday, the concern I had was
scoring too early.
I mean that, right?
Yeah,
like
I know.
how many times have we seen it? How many times have we seen Josh do a superhuman thing, leave the field with a lead, and they lose the football game?
Yeah.
Like
well,
we've
Josh
seen
even
that
said
how many
something
times?
Josh even said something. He got asked that in the post-game presser. And he said, was the concern that you guys scored too quickly? And Josh paused for a second. And this might not be verbatim. I'm going to do the best I could. He said, standing here right now, we did the right thing and scored. Like that is a summarization of what he said. But he started with standing right here, right now. So he disagreed with just scoring. Right. Like he disagreed.
I mean, just because it worked doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Correct. Right. And I do want to point out that Josh Allen scoring that 1 yard touchdown with 1:04 remaining marked the first time in Bills history they won a playoff game in regulation after trailing with under 5 minutes left. And think of how many games the Bills have actually been on the doorstep of doing that the last several years, and it's always gone wrong. And this was the first time it actually went right. So, because Josh has led that team back to take the lead with under 5 minutes left, right? Like in the playoffs. This has happened multiple times at this point.
He led him back to win the game with 13 seconds left, right? Like we've seen this before, and it was just like deja vu all over again. They've got a kid with a cannon for a leg in Jacksonville, and you look at the broadcast and they're like, well, you got that red line where, they say field goal target. They start on the 23 and they got to get to the 50, right? You got to get 28 yards and you're in field goal range. And you're just like, oh my God, they're going to go into overtime and they're going to lose this football game. Like I can just envision that this is going to happen. And the fact that it didn't, I mean, again, Trey White with an unbelievable play, Cole Bishop right there for the tip drill. Like, I think a lot of it was Trevor Lawrence. I think the moment got too big for him, which, is again, another thing that as you look at these quarterbacks that are left in the AFC, you're going to see that a lot. Like you could make the argument last night. You could make the argument that the moment was too big for Drake May. He fumbled the ball twice and he threw an interception, right? He didn't lose one of the fumbles, which was late in the game, which would have been a game changing because Derwin James had his hands on it and he was gone if he could somehow come up with that ball. And that's a completely different football game, right? Like I don't trust. If I was a Broncos fan and you told me that game's going to play out exactly like this Bills Jaguars game did, I'm going to be terrified because there's no way that I trust Bo Nix with 1:04 left and no timeouts. There's no way you can believe that he's going to get yourself into field goal range or get a touchdown. Yeah. CJ Stroud, I don't have any faith that CJ Stroud's going to hurt you there. I don't have any faith Drake May's going to do it. The only one is Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, I mean, I have to think he can do it because I've seen him do it. Yeah. But it's like recency bias doesn't indicate that he's got anything left in the tank to go, 40 yards to get a field goal. So I mean, again, it's the and core Flash brings up a good point, right? Psychologically, that's another thing that Josh brings. Now, Flash is more talking about like in the locker room, right? He's a leader on the field, off the field, those types of things. But the psychological games that he plays on the field against the other team, I think can't be understated enough. Like,
well, I think he
impacts the offensive coordinator for the other football team, and quarterbacks aren't supposed to do that, right? Like your quarterback is not supposed to define what the other team does offensively, and Josh does that.
Now, obviously, right, we sit far enough away to try to be objective about this as possible, right? But I will say that Josh seems like a happier person coming into this season than we've ever seen, right? Yeah. We've seen excited Josh Allen, but I think we're seeing he's not a kid anymore. Right,
he's like at peace. He's almost like he's at peace with stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
He's very settled. Right. I think you can see that with the way that he carries himself, with the way he does his post game pressers. He's not like when something goes bad, he's not dejected, pouting like we saw the first couple years, right? Where he would want to overly take accountability for things. Now it's a bit different, right? And I think that's important to recognize a man's growth, and whatever is going right for him off the field, I think you can see on the field. I think that makes a big difference. One thing I want to go back to, though, talking about Sean McDermott versus Sean Payton, let's not forget that McDermott and Payton were in the same division for 5 years, I think.
5 years,
from 2011 to 2016. McDermott's 6-6 against Payton, and the Saints were really good at that time.
Yeah, they were
right?
very, very good. Yeah,
they were a very good football team. Carolina, not always so much, right? Carolina would go through a year of being a pretty decent football team and then win 4 games, and then be pretty decent and then win 4 games. Like that was just kind of the spike and the ebb and flow of how the Carolina Panthers were from 2011 to 2016. Couple good years in there, but for the most part, like McDermott does understand Payton. I think that for me, the difference is, will Buffalo be able to get the Broncos to stop running the football? And I think that's where Denver is very beatable, is they try to run a super balanced offense, and they try and get teams to kind of cheat down a little bit, so that way they could take advantage of you. But if you could get 2 scores on them pretty early, I think you kind of force them out of their comfort zone. But Sean Payton loves to run the football, so they're going to try and be balanced. If you're Buffalo, though, shutting down the run, I'm not really worried about the run game. Right? Like,
I think you approach the running game of Denver just like you approach the running game of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're just not really super concerned about it.
Yeah. And I think, I think you saw it right from the opening drive. Like Buffalo goes in the opening drive, like they go, I think it was like almost like a 10-play drive that resulted in like no points, but it took, like a ton of time off the clock, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Bills opening drive was 8 plays for 32 yards, and it took 5.5 minutes off the clock. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't possess the ball for 5 minutes in the entire first quarter. No. Buffalo's first drive was 5.5 minutes long. Like, and that's the thing. Like if Denver starts with the football and they don't get points, or they kick a field goal, and Buffalo takes 6 minutes off the clock, whether they come away with points or not, like all of a sudden Denver's like, okay, we got to do something here, because they're going to get the ball at the start of the second half. And how many more possessions do we get before that happens? They get the opportunity to double dip. Like, you put pressure on the offense immediately. And the question to like you said, like, will they keep running the football in that situation? And don't forget, like, they try to run the football, but they don't have a guy who's rushed for more than 780 yards this season, right? Like, they don't have great running backs. They just have guys that they try to run the football with, and they try to get over the top. They try to suck down, which Buffalo's not going to fall for, right? Like, this is too disciplined, too veteran of a Buffalo football team.
Totally.
And then the other thing too is, like, what are they going to throw at Bo Nix defensively? You saw what they did to Trevor Lawrence. Like, he was completely and utterly fooled in the first half, and then in the fourth quarter. Like, they made some adjustments in the third quarter. I thought that, you started to see some success with Parker Washington and things like that, but eventually, like, Babbage and McDermott adjusted again, and it was like they put the clamps down.
Well, and Parker Washington's the type of receiver that always gives the Bills problems, right? Like
those little scat players.
They're twitchy, and they're Buffalo just struggles with those, right? I will say that the responsibilities that Bo Nix carries under center are not the same as Trevor Lawrence. So I understand the direction you're going there. Yeah. I do think it's a little easier to kind of baffle Bo Nix, but let's not forget, Bo Nix threw for 300 more yards than Josh Allen this season. So it's not like he hasn't and isn't capable of throwing the football, right? Like, that's no way.
3,900 yards, right?
Right.
But only 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
11 interceptions. Again, like, relatively low numbers for a quarterback with that yardage total.
He was 15th in the league in QBR.
Yeah, they're very safe with him. Like, he is very, very, very safe.
He's only got a 63% completion percentage. Like, he is at every statistical category. He's not as good as what they just faced on Sunday against Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I would make the argument that includes offensive weapons. I think the Jags are more talented offensively.
With all things being considered, the pass rush of the Denver Broncos is the biggest the biggest problem for the Bills, right? Because
you saw what Houston
don't
did.
Exactly. I don't want to go back and I don't want to rewind that tape, man. Like I don't want to have anything to do with the Houston Texans. I'm hoping that, somebody does the dirty work for the Bills in the playoffs, so that way you don't have to go to Houston for an AFC Championship game. Like that's what I'm on. I don't want to go to Houston for an AFC Championship.
They're in a dogfight right now.
Yeah. No thanks.
I mean, they're in a dogfight right now. It's 7-6 Houston. Like this is not what I thought this game would look like. With Houston and Pittsburgh. Like I thought Houston would put them away early.
Right. Yeah, Houston struggles to score points. Denver, on the other hand, is going to try to take possessions away from you. Right. Like they steal possessions because you can be, 2nd and 6 and all of a sudden you're 3rd and 14. Right.
Yep.
And those are sometimes the teams that I think Josh struggles with. Right. Because he is that Superman. Right. He does think that like, hey, I'm just going to put the cape on. Let me just go get this done. But there's a lot of times where that gets taken away from him. Right. And I, like the Denver Broncos had multiple games with like more than 6 sacks this year, right? Like they get after guys. Yeah. So at what point does Josh take a snap, take his drop and say, there's nothing here. I just gotta go down, right? Like there's just not, we got to lose this play, right? Like I'd rather lose 3 than lose 18, 20. We saw him not long ago, push the Bills out of field goal range, right? Yeah. By doing that. And what makes him great also makes him a liability against teams that really get after the quarterback. So for me, that's the biggest thing walking into Saturday's game at Mile High is how nasty is that Denver Broncos pass rush going to be, and what yardage and opportunities is it going to cost Buffalo? Not necessarily that it's going to generate turnovers, but I mean, again, like just the situation that I labeled out, we see the Bills in 2nd and 6 all the time. They love to run the football on 1st down, right? And that 2nd and 6 turns into 3rd and 14, and you can't throw a screen pass to clear Shakir on 3rd and 14 and expect to get a 1st down, right? Like you're out of makeable range at that point. So that's the biggest thing for me, and I would love for you to tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to what we did last week when Mario, I think, or maybe you, one of the two, were kind of talking about like that 8-game winning streak that Jacksonville went on, right? Like, and then you started to read down the list of the teams that they beat, and it was like, okay, well, maybe I see it, right? So like, let's look at the teams that Denver has played this season, and let's look at the quarterbacks that Denver has played this season. Like Cam Ward, Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert.
Oh, a good Daniel Jones. That was a good Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and they lost that game.
Yeah.
Right? They lost that game. Justin Herbert, they lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they beat, in order, a Burrow-less Bengals, Jalen Hurts, whoever the Jets had, whoever the Giants had, Dak Prescott, whoever the Texans had, Geno Smith, like the shell of the Chiefs in that, remember that 22-19 game that kind of put the nail in the coffin for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Was it Josh Johnson or was it Marcus Mariota when they played the Commanders? Doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't
like
matter. It doesn't matter.
Geno Smith. It wasn't Jordan Love when they played the Packers, right? I think it was who's the backup there. It wasn't Jordan Love, I don't think, in that game. Trevor Lawrence, whoever the Chiefs played, and then whoever played for the Chargers in that last game of the season when they rested Justin Herbert. So like when we talk about, they've gotten a lot of sacks. How many good offenses did I list through? Not many.
Yeah.
How many good quarterbacks did I list through? 3. Right. And like 2 of those they lost. If you call Daniel Jones good Daniel Jones in that game, which he was good Daniel Jones at that point in the season, they lost that game, and they lost to Justin Herbert the one time they played him. So like, and I don't say this to diminish what the Broncos have done. I say this to say, like, they're doing really well getting after the quarterback, but who are they getting after, and what offensive lines are they beating? I think that's something worth noting. Meanwhile, you've got Buffalo coming to town. That's one of the best pass pro teams in the league when it comes to the offensive line. You've got an absolute, centaur at quarterback that's tough to bring down, that's playing smart football right now, that can get out of the pocket and move, break tackles, things like that. Like, they haven't seen a creature like Josh Allen yet this season, and it'll be interesting. It'll be a good matchup, and that will define this game. Like, if Josh Allen spends his, if Josh Allen goes down 4 or 5 times this game, like, I think Buffalo's in a lot of trouble. I don't think they can give up that many sacks this game.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, is going to have to do with, I mean, is Ty Johnson going to be healthy? And if he's not, who's going to step into the backfield and pick up those extra blitzers? Because Denver likes to blitz, and you're going to have someone who can step in and play. And is it Dawson Knox in an H-back role? Is it Reggie Gilliam sees additional snaps?
Please,
right? Like,
please let it be Gilliam, right?
Figure
please
it out,
let
man.
It be Gilliam.
Yeah.
You got to contribute somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like your only job on the team can't be to push Josh Allen in a tush push.
Hey, they were 4 for 4 with it.
I get it, right? I get it. But like that's a literal anybody job, right? That's an fair. Anybody job. And unfortunately when it's not Bills playoff season unless you lose a linebacker. So Shaq Thompson was on the injury report all week with a neck. I was fine with the way Shaq played. Fine. Right. Fine. I thought Milano looked great. Bernard, again, we talked about it earlier in the stream. I would be surprised that if we see Terrell Bernard anytime soon. Hairston, again, is another one where I would love to see Hairston, but I don't think I need him this game necessarily. I know that's like the season's on the line, right? You want your first round pick out there because he had been playing well. To me, the Jordan Poyer injury is probably a little bit more impactful because it forces reserve players out. Whereas right now, you have this is why you signed Trey. You signed Trey to give you a third DB, right? Because you already got Benford. Trey was there just to cover that ground, and you lost Hairston as it was. So Trey got snaps early. So the process is the process. And now with the full week,
you want Hairston. The only reason I want Hairston is because you really would like somebody to kind of counter that Troy Franklin, take the top off defense type of speed.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, if he's not 100%, then he's not necessarily going to be that.
He's not going to help you
anyway.
there. Yeah, he's not going to help you there. Yeah, right. And I don't know if you have that bullet in the gun with the rest of this DB class. Don't get me wrong, I love Dane Jackson, right? But Dane Jackson up on Troy Franklin is not a big. Dane Jackson better be punching Troy Franklin in the mouth at the line of scrimmage in order to win that matchup, right? That has to be what has to happen there. And a little concerned about Dalton Kincaid. He left the game in a walking boot. Apparently it's nothing. I don't know what that means. Anytime the doctor goes, I should probably put this on. Don't love that.
I follow, you follow all the guys on Twitter, right? Thigh Doctor, who came out and said, I would expect to see Kincaid. I would expect to see Poyer. Don't count on Oliver yet. But I think, opening the practice window, I think is a big step for Oliver, because by all accounts, he's been coming and putting in extra work. Babbage, I think, said it at one point in one of the press conferences, that he's coming and doing work on his own. So Oliver wants to be back. And I think Poyer, by everything I've read, Poyer was trying to ask his way back into the game on Sunday. He was riding the bike the entire rest of the game, trying to show that okay, I can get back out there. So I think that bodes well. But again, adrenaline wears off. Injuries are worse than they are sometimes.
McDermott already ruled him out for the Saturday game.
Poyer?
Yeah. Let me confirm that.
Yeah.
Let me confirm that. I will say that when it comes to probably, what's the best way for me to phrase this? When it comes to this Bills offense against that defense, just separation is always the concern, right? Because you're just going to need things that get open quick. That defense is not going to give you time. And sure, you might have Curtis Samuel back, but I do think you open the window on Samuel and Oliver just purely from a strategic standpoint to make the Denver Broncos have to go look at whatever that means, right? You're pulling film on Oliver in week 8 and week 9, right? This is film that at this point is useless to everybody. Nobody looks at week 8 and week 9. But by opening up the practice window for Oliver, you have to now go back and say, all right, what did Buffalo do in week 8 and week 9? Let's see how they were using Ed. What was the expectation? How was he playing? What were the tells? Now you have to spend time doing that. And for Curtis Samuel, he hasn't really been impactful. But with no Gabe Davis, and your counter move is to activate Curtis Samuel's, window, you have to go back and look and see, at what point was Curtis Samuel impactful in the offense. So again, I think some of this is gamesmanship because it's 21 days. So you just have to activate him before the Super Bowl. This isn't like rocket science. Like,
right.
You're gonna have to activate him sooner or later, anyways. So I do feel there's some gamesmanship here. I think some of it gets fans' hopes up. I wouldn't play into that too much, right? Like, just me.
So he listed Poyer week to week. So
okay.
Yeah, probably not Sunday. If that's the
Saturday.
case. Yeah, or Saturday. Sorry. Yeah. Kincaid was just a precaution. They think he's going to be fine for practice this week. Shavers, they're still kind of looking at the knee. Johnson, Hairston, and Bernard are all, quote, improving. First walkthrough is tomorrow, so we'll know more tomorrow, depending on what guys do. So,
well,
yeah, I mean injury reports, right? Like we're back to watching injury reports, and that was,
and these are nonsense injury reports because you don't really have to report anything till Tuesday, right? So these are all nonsense injury reports.
Yeah, I mean it's frustrating, right? Because like it would really have been nice, and this is something to be critical of whoever made the decision, but it would really have just been nice to just keep your strength and conditioning guy and just not have a whole new staff come in and now everyone's hurt late in the season again. So
I mean, I think you're kind of glossing over the last couple playoff runs that we've gone through. Sure. Like I think that's probably, like the fact of the matter is the Bills have been pretty banged up for the last few years, right? Like I get why you make a change, right? I get why. John Paul asks if Hamlin will play. Actually, funny. He very well could. Yeah, he very well could.
They might start him. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, they may start him just because of the vet experience, right? Like
the
veteran
experience. Over Hancock.
We feel like it's easier to cover him up because we know what we have to cover up with him.
Yeah,
versus Hancock, it's like you're trying to figure it out as the week goes on. Like, what do we have to do so this kid doesn't need to do X, Y, Z?
I don't know. Hancock played a bunch this year, so it's not like he's being thrown out there like Cole Bishop was, right? Remember when Cole Bishop had to start playing? It was like, oh, by the way, Cole, grab your helmet. We need you to play every snap for the rest of the season, right? Like,
right.
I don't miss Taylor Rapp, right? I'd rather deal with Jordan Hancock / Damar Hamlin than getting frustrated with Taylor Rapp at this point. So it's the devil, I suppose. And I definitely could see Damar getting significant playing time, if not a start over Hancock, because Jacksonville went right after Hancock. I think they would have done the same to Damar. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm supporting Damar over Hancock. I personally would rather Hancock play. Just because I already know what Damar looks like, but that's just part of me is curiosity, and I know what Damar is going to give you. So I'm leaning towards Hancock. I'd rather just deal with that. But Jacksonville had no problem with a not great receiver group going right after him. So that again, that's a little concerning to me. I think I don't see Denver's wide receiver group as,
I don't think they're much more talented than.
That's what I mean, right? So,
right?
Yeah,
like Jacoby Myers and Cortland Sutton, like okay, you know, and then everybody else. Flash had a good question. So, given how banged up he's been, do you expect run plays design? I don't think you can run this offense at peak performance if you're not trying designed runs with Josh Allen. Like I don't see how they take that out and remain remain running this offense the way they want to run it. I think they're going to have to figure out designed runs for him, but I think they will pick their moments a lot better than they maybe have in the past.
Yeah, I, look at it and remember what the injury report could say. And the injury report could read hand, ankle, finger, knee, right? Like that's, all, right? It might be the first ever all that we've ever seen on an injury report. But
so like those wrestling games, right? Where like the whole body's red.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because he's effectively a crash test dummy at this point, right? Like he's effectively a crash test dummy. But I do think you have to be cautious with that early in the game. Again, at the end of the game, you're trying to win. So if it comes to that, I think you break that out when you need to. I think you have to go as long as you can without pulling that lever, because he is really banged up. He's going to get banged up. In the past, one of the best things to do to bypass that pass rush would be to just get Josh on the move, right? And get him out of there as quickly as you can. I have injury concerns for him just to make it through the game, if that's going to be the idea. Let's not forget, I know it was a million years ago, and I know it was probably Greg Williams anyway, but this is a former Bounty Gate head coach. So let's not forget that this team only wins if Josh makes it through the game. Again, it was a long time ago. That was probably Greg Williams anyway. He was a former head coach of the Bills. We're very familiar. He's kind of an asshole. So,
pick your moments. They're going to be more judicious with it. They're not gonna pull that lever unless they have to. So first drive, 3rd and 3 incoming.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I know. Right.
They'll pull that lever the opening drive if they think they got a shot at it.
Yeah, they sure will.
and if they don't call it, he'll check into it.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's gonna face.
He just doesn't know any better.
He's gonna be in a shotgun formation. They're gonna show blitz. They're gonna empty that middle of the defense, and Josh is just gonna be like 3rd and 3. Like no one in the middle of the defense. Here I go.
Yep.
Yep.
You're probably right, Ryan.
Yeah.
You're probably right. All right, so let's get to score predictions, my friend. We were pretty close last week.
Were we? I don't remember what I know. I guessed the Bills to win. I don't remember what the score was.
I think Mario said 27-24, to be honest with you.
He just said the wrong team.
Yeah, he said the wrong team, and I said 31-27. So again, pretty close, right?
Okay.
Had the right idea. Where do you sit with score for this one?
I don't think Denver is as dynamic offensively as Jacksonville can be. Defensively, I think this is going to be, a tough game for Buffalo to kind of find its rhythm. But the way Josh plays, I think he can find his rhythm against any defense that he's going to come up against. I'm going to go 30-17 Buffalo. I think this is a game that I don't think Bo Nix is going to find any rhythm against this Bills defense. I think they're going to have to go away from the run early, and Denver, if the other team's not turning the football over, like that defense is going to wear out eventually. And I think Josh in the second half will turn it on like he always has.
Okay. Yeah, that's I look at it this way. In the meetings between Peyton and McDermott as head coaches, twice Sean Payton's team has scored 7 points or less. Twice.
Yeah.
That's enough for me to believe that this game is going to be close.
It's going to be close?
Isn't going to be close.
It isn't going to be close. Okay.
Yeah, no. Even with the injuries, I get it, right? But this is a head coach who's very familiar with Sean Payton. Bo Nix is going to have to play the best game of his career to keep this as a 2-score game. Like I just don't think Denver is. They're the weakest 1 seed I can remember in a long time.
Yeah, they're the least scary 1 team in probably a decade at least. Yeah.
Now, mind you, they're healthy. They're rested, right? Like they're everything that the Bills should be afraid of, right? Mm-hmm. I know they've pulled it off all season, right? Like it's smoke and mirrors. I don't know how they keep doing it, but they won an absolute incredible amount of 1-score games. And I just don't think that this is a team that's going to be able to keep up with Buffalo, even with the pass rush. And that's sort of my biggest concern is how healthy will Josh be through the course of the game, right? Because that's the biggest turning point, right? Like Denver will win if they can get to Josh early and if they can score early enough. But twice Sean Payton hasn't been able to score more than 7 points on Sean McDermott. So I'm willing to believe that this game probably ends like 31-10. Like I really
if Buffalo can keep it, if Buffalo can go into halftime in a 1-score football game, like you can't like Denver's chances in a game like that. Like,
right.
You can't expect that Bo Nix, even if he plays well in the first half, like you can't expect he's going to go blow for blow with Josh Allen in the second half. So.
Yeah. And RCL says Denver's D can keep this a low-scoring game. You're absolutely right. They absolutely could keep this a low-scoring game. But at some point with that pass rush, they're going to have to start taking chances. And I think that's where Buffalo just is going to capitalize. And again, if you can run the ball on them, I think they're going to give you the run because they want Josh to feel the pressure of that pass rush, right? I just don't think Brady or Josh are patient enough to just take 4.5 yards carry. I think I really do believe they'll just wait him out. Like I can't be talked off that ledge at this point. So,
but I think to counter that though, it's going to take the one thing you didn't see on Sunday that Cook usually does is he usually rips off a couple of big runs despite 3 yards per carry, 4.5 yards per carry. There's always like a couple carries out there that get him to that higher average. If they can pull those off, if he's going 4.5 yards on most of his carries, but he's got a couple carries of 12, 15, 17 yards, I think they're going to stick with the run as much as they can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm hopeful. It does set up better next week if Buffalo can be dominant in the run game. Like it does make it again, like all this matters, right? Like what you put on film, how you play the game, it all matters. All right,
yeah,
Ryan.
Watching this Houston game, man. I'm not scared. Let Houston go into New England next week and just make a mess of things, man. And I don't like either of those teams coming out against Buffalo because I think Houston's going to beat the hell out of New England. And if New England survives, I think Drake May is going to come out shaken. And if they don't survive, I like Sean McDermott a second time against any team.
Really?
Yeah,
I think Sean McDermott praise.
Yeah,
he watches you sleep at night, as I could see. You have the trust the process poster in the back.
Hey,
he watches you sleep at night.
I'd love to be wrong about the guy. I really would.
Yeah. I don't live on the same island as you. And I would much prefer to play the Patriots at Foxborough than play the Texans in a dome. Right.
Yeah, I would too. I think I would
in advance past Denver. Right. I don't want to talk like, getting past Denver they're the 1 seed, right? Like you have to respect the fact that this is going to be a challenge. I don't want to look past that, but looking at the likely outcomes, I would rather play the Patriots. Right. Yep. I would rather play Patriots. As anemic as that Texans offense can be, I'd rather play the Patriots. That
even more so now. It looks like Nico Collins has a concussion, so that'll be.
Man, Patriots would be fine. Or the Texans would be fine. If no Nico Collins, I mean, he's not going to be out for 2 weeks, right? Most likely. He's getting carted off the field.
Yeah, concussion, but I think they're driving him to the back. So
okay, all right.
All right, guys.
Wait, one more thing. Daniel Garies brings up McDermott won another challenge in the Jacksonville game. I want to point out
that was as much of a gimme of a challenge as you could get, though.
I felt attacked that whole game as a fan because you get the Cooks ball that was a catch that was ruled an incompletion. You get, the Bills don't score. They pull the touchdown back and then Josh has to run the next one in, right? Like, there were moments of that game where I was like, oh, no, we're good. Yeah, we're fine. And then it's like, oh, after further review, I felt attacked by that game a few times.
Yeah. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything with that Cooks catch that I didn't see in the Jacoby Myers catch earlier in the game.
Right.
So it was as soon as that play happened, I was like, well, they called it a catch for Myers. Clearly they'll just leave it a catch for Cooks too. And then, again, we're back to the sky judge versus and they didn't let Buffalo go fast. And then to end the first half, they let Jacksonville go fast to the point where, they got a chip shot field goal that luckily, ball don't lie on that one. But I mean, you could do a whole show on it, right? You can do, there's a problem with NFL officiating right now. And I think the problem is so bad that they're going to have to do something about it because now you're in money with the gambling sites. And they can't continue to have games like this. Did you see the what was the over under? There was an over under situation too. I think it was Buffalo. It was Buffalo Jacksonville. The over under on the game was 51.5 and they ended at 51. And you can't have moments like that that field goal situation at the end of the half, the dropped Brandon Cooks catch that they wound up bringing back and then you finish just shy of the under or the over under number when 70% of the money went on the over, right? Like you
Right.
can't continue to have those things that are controlled by the refs before someone's going to knock on
Right.
someone's door and go, what the hell's going on here? Like
Right.
now you're messing with the money,
Big
right?
time.
And that's a problem. So
Oh, yeah.
they're gonna have to figure something out. And I don't know what the answer is, but you can do a whole show on NFL officiating this season.
Yeah, well, look at the referee for this upcoming Broncos game. Loves to call offensive holding, so you'll see that a lot, right?
Who is it? Do we know who it is yet?
I forget how to pronounce the name. We do know it.
As
got
long as it's not
released.
Brad Allen again.
It is not Brad Allen. I can assure you, it's not Brad Allen. Hold on, the name escapes me, but I went and pulled all the. I went and pulled all his.
Oh yeah, Sharp.
all his
Sharp
call
Sharp
history.
does that, right?
Yeah. I gotta remember who it is. Hold on. Bills, Broncos, referee assignments. Carl Sheffers.
Oh, okay. I don't mind Carl Sheffers.
Well, it's called the second most penalties in the NFL, but sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, he hasn't been too bad to Buffalo though, typically. So
yeah, I mean, he kind of in the last couple years, not this year, but in the last couple years, he's had there's been a statistical anomaly where like 70% of the time the home team won in 2 of the last 3 seasons. So like, don't like that,
yeah.
you know, like I don't like that. But again, that could just be game assignments. Like that could be anything, right? Like I don't necessarily believe in that. But typically, you know, calls have a tendency to be offensive holding, defensive holding. You know, it's just those seem to be the things that have been called this season. So something to be aware of. That's all. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Hashtag Nation. Thanks again to Sean Rogers at Mr. Rogers Homes for sponsoring. We will see you guys after the game. I will probably go Monday again, Rye. Like at that point, we got to wait to see who the Bills are going to play anyway. So Bills are playing on Saturday at Mile High. We'll probably just do this again on Monday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. That sound good to you?
Sure.
All right.
Here.
Cool. Yeah, it's a thing. All right. We'll make it a thing. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks again.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Go Bills.
Yeah, always go Bills, man.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth? And right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona.
If you're interested, reach out to me. We'll have a confidential, no obligation question and answer conversation. You have absolutely nothing to lose, possibly everything to gain.
As always, God bless America and go Buffalo!